Testing, 1, 2. Test, test. Okay. Testing. Okay, we're on. Okay, today we're going to work with the stick control book and triplet elements. For those who don't know what I mean by triplet elements, the eighth note triplet is counted the way I count it is 1 and or 1, 2, 3. Some people count it 1 triplet or 1 ta-ta. That don't work for me, so I maintain 1 and da. So there's 3 notes in the triplet. In the elements, we could have just the first stroke of the triplet, for example, 1 and da. Or we could have the second note of the triplet only, 1 and da. Then the third note of the triplet, 1 and da. So that's 3 elements of an eighth note triplet. Then we have combinations. I can play the first and second note and leave the third note out. 1 and da, 2 and da, 3 and da, 4 and da. Or combinations of. Leave the first note of the triplet out and play the second 2. 1 and da, 2 and da, 3 and da, 4 and da. Or leave the middle note of the triplet out and play the first and third. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and or the first 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a few other combinations. So what I've come up with for today is utilizing the stick control book, formulas. Or, formulas, I guess you can say. So, when I just demonstrated the triplet there, I would say that Gary Chaffee patterns, series, time functioning. Hey, Jack, how you doing, man? I got your coffee and I'm drinking it now. Okay, so we're doing the triplet element. And that's the Gary Chaffee book. He breaks down the elements of the triplet, or parts of the eighth note triplet. So I've come up with the formula. Now you could use any element of the triplet with the stick control book, making R whenever you come to an R. For example, if we make the and da of the triplet, and when I see an R, it would be 1 and da. Hey, how you doing there? All right. And when I see a left, it's the and of the triplet on the hand. And so if I took the first line of stick control book, right, left, how was your flight home, Jack? Okay? I'm working on the video, so be patient, okay? All right. The and of the triplet, if I took the first sticking pattern of stick control book, right, left, we'd have R would equal 1 and da. Then we have the L falls on the 2 and da. So I'm interpreting the stick control book instead of 1 and 2 and I'm making each R or each left a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I took the first sequence, right, left, 1, 2, 3, 4, what I would have would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and do we understand the interpretation? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and that was the first measure. Okay? Now, what I do with that is I'm going to take the straight ahead jazz pattern. We're not going to play like an open time like Davey. I'm not improvising to a melody. I'm just playing a straight ahead time. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2. Now there's a motion there that I maintain. Free stroke, down, a free stroke, down, a free stroke, down, a free. So while I'm doing that, I'm adding my left foot. This is just a straight ahead jazz time, standard jazz time, and my left foot's going to be on 2 and 4 while I'm playing that. 1 and 2 and heel and toe. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to do the line 1, where there's the right is the and where there's the left is the and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Do we understand it all now? Any questions from this point? Yeah, there's a lot of people watching. Hey, very good. Whoever is not in the chat, it would be very appreciative if you get into the chat and say, yo, Matt, what's up? Can you repeat that? Can you slow it down? Can you play it faster? Or that sucks, or whatever. Can we do that, please, everybody? Any questions at this point right now, since I started? The elements of the triplet? All right, let's take line 5 with that formula. Remember, the right equals 1 and L equals 2 and against the jazz pattern. 1 and 2, 3. This is going to be line 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, Jack, how about you there, Ed? Hey, Ed, I'm going up to your way probably the end of June. Maybe we could hook up again. No questions, anyone? And whoever is not in the chat, please. I know you're at work, it's lunchtime, you're on an iPhone, and maybe you can't get in the chat. But I'm using the and of the triplet. What I do is I'm going to do the first line, and I'm going to tag a vamp onto the end. Now the vamp's going to be if whatever hand I end with, or whatever sticking pattern I end with, is going to be that. The first line will be the left. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went right into line 2. I tag on a vamp, and I think it's really good. You know, we're not working with any kind of structure of a tune or form of a tune or any kind of melody. You know, and I'd like to make a distinction here with a standard straight ahead time and an open time. Do we all know what an open time is? It's referred to it that. I mean, I don't have to agree with that term, but that's the term that seems to be sticking around. Do we all understand what a free open time is? Hey, Ross, where you been? Do we know the difference between a straight ahead standard time and an open time? All I need is a Y for yes and an N for no. If you don't know, I will explain it. Do we understand it? The difference between a straight ahead time and an open time. Do we know the difference? Tonight I'll be on my website at 8:30. You don't know what I mean by open time? Okay. All right. The straight ahead time is what I'm playing right now. And I implement the levels here so I maintain the quarter note. I'm just using quarter notes now. I'm keeping time. All right. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'm establishing 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm mechanically playing the jazz time. 1, 2. I want to play triplets with the left hand. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm playing a straight ahead time. That's standard time. In open time, I have the freedom. You're in time, believe me. You're in time, or else it's not going to work. But what I'm doing is if I'm playing a jazz tune and I'm playing a structured form, A, B, A, I'm having a conversation and I'm complimenting the tune, the melody, or the improv. So I'm free to take my right hand and my left hand and my right foot and my left foot and make it part of the improv or the conversation with the other musicians. For example, if I played Milestones by Miles Davis, bop, 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 boo, bang. That was 8 measures. That's a structure. Now, if I'm going to play straight, bop, 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 bop. Now, I played the straight ahead time. I'm going to play an open time in there. The melody will be going on, but I'm going to improvise with the melody instead of just laying down a straight ahead time. The straight ahead time actually works better when you're backing up a vocalist. You know, oh, what is it, Mac the Knife? Mac the Knife, yeah. Oh, the shark bait. For commercialism, you're laying it down, so you're holding the sections of the big band together on the commercial sense. Now, I'm going to play, I'm going to try to hum the melody and play the open time. I'm going to improvise just from the A section. Bop, 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 bop. I missed it. Bop, 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 bop. Now, my right hand was going all over the place, but it was in time, and I was the way I was feeling or hearing the melody. That's the open time. Do we understand the difference, or do you agree or disagree, or we could elaborate more, or talk to me, gentlemen? That is the difference between a straight ahead time and open time. The straight ahead time is usually when you're backing up a vocalist and they want to hear that ding, chain, chain, ding, chain. You got it, Mr. Jack? Okay. I knew that you would. That's the difference. I mean, it's nothing new. I'm playing to the tune. All right? I'm not locked into playing 1, 2 to 3, 4, only because what I'm doing here now is being mechanical, being mathematical, and showing you the formula that's going to help you develop strength between the right foot and left foot. It's an exercise. That's all it is. Ed, do you understand that? All right, you say you think you have it. Okay, let's take another example. I always like that song, oh, the shark bait. Yeah, that's the, Mac the Knife? It happens with a lot of other tunes. You understand it, right, Mr. Ed? Okay. That's the difference between a straight time and an open time. The open time is I'm adding to the melody. I'm playing the melody. I'm not going to do A, B, A twice and then on the improv. I mean, I could lay just the time down. It depends. Or I can play to the tune and what I hear, what I feel at that particular time. There is no right, there is no wrong. Like I'm telling you right now, this is just an exercise. We've taken the triplet elements, which are in the pattern series, Time Functionings by Gary Chaffee. Great books, good information. And what I'm doing is I'm using that triplet element and implementing the stick control book as formulas. The brilliance of George Lawrence Stone and the brilliance of Gary Chaffee, man, you have an explosion going on. Okay, that's just the one triplet that I'm talking about, the part of the triplet, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and let's take another part of the triplet. Let's take, and this is the stick control book. We're going to go to the stick control book as a formula. We're going to say, okay, let's take R and make it the first and third note of the triplet. For example, when I see an R, it would be 1 and When I see a left, it would be 2 and So I have those two elements. If I did line 1, right, left sequence only, I'll stop there. 1 and 2 and 3 and If I did the line, it would be a 4-measure increment. So I'm going to play it against the time. I should make that closer. I'm going to do the first formula. First right, left sequence. 1. Or if I did line 3, which is right, left, I'd have this. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see how the formula works? And there's endless possibilities. I can mix up the elements as well, but I would not recommend it at this point if you're not accustomed to doing it this way. This is just a basic foundation to go wherever you want to go with this kind of stuff. It's great independent exercises, 4-limb exercises. Straight ahead, bang. We're not playing the open time. That's a little bit more complicated. You know, with the melodies, you know, there's no right or wrong with that. It's the way you hear and the way you interpret the melody, the sections of the tune, and how you know, you might work 6 nights a week playing that same tune the second set, but at different musicians, you're going to get a different thing going on. Okay? So the one that I start everybody at, first of all, let me say this. I want to talk about Jim Chapin's Advanced Techniques for the Modern Drummer. Iconic book in the drum community. Great book. And I think it's only great because of the graphics at that particular time. And Jim Chapin was brilliant. Okay, but I don't really teach out of that book because everybody looks at it and says, oh, this is difficult. So what I do is I come up with these formulas. A variety of things. And I use the stick control book, the triplet fill-ins, so on and so forth. And I keep my students on that for a while. And then I open up the Jim Chapin book and they play right through it. Not a problem. And they say, well, I thought this book was difficult. Well, it is difficult, but you have the training and the foundation to open it up and play it, only because of these triplet elements. You know, I always, you know, there's arguments going on about his book that is very stiff. And I think it is stiff as well. But the graphics, he was the first one. He was a pioneer to come out with the notation the way it's done, the way he presented it. And I think he did a great job. And it opened up a tremendous amount of doors for everyone. Okay, but now, I would take, if everybody here has the Time Functionings Gary Chaffee pattern series, there's the 3 elements that I like to work with first. And I was just giving you sort of a briefing on it. I like to take the first note of the triplet, which would just be the 1. So if I did line 1 in the stick control book, R becoming 1, the first note of the triplet, 1 and the. L becoming the first note of the triplet again, but this time with the snare drum, 2 and the. So if I did the first line with that formula, 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. Now for your educators out here, what's good for your students is to understand how to play the jazz time with the levels implemented, the free stroke, down, a free stroke, down. So you get that straight 4 feel, the 2 and 4 on the left foot, and make them control the quarter note, 1, between the bass drum and the snare drum. I'm going to do line 1, 1 and 2, just do quarter notes. 1, 2, simple, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, third measure, 1, 2, 3, last time, 1, 2, vamp, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, line 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple process, and it does encourage the young guys. Oh, I don't like to play jazz, man. I want to play heavy metal kind of stuff. No, it's about you developing control of that right hand. Look at that right hand. It was just free stroke down, a free stroke down. Does everybody know why I do that? Yes or no? If you want to, I'll give an explanation. Do you know why I do that? Just say yes or N for no, and we'll address this, see what comes up. Jack, I was very impressed with your knowledge, man. You have a degree in performance. You're a really good player. Well, yeah, you understand. Okay, Ed, and Jack understands. Okay, how about you there, Mr. Ross? And whoever else, man, has a question. All right. The object, see, I never forget, let's make a comparison here with that, the reason why. Yeah, you're establishing a pulse, yes. I mean, the pulse is there, 1, 2, 3, 4. The pulse could be pronounced or not pronounced, but I maintain a consistent sound with that ride cymbal when I'm playing this straight ahead jazz time or standard time, whatever you want to call it. I predicate that off the triplet, the first note of the triplet. And if you watch my right hand, my distance, I try to maintain the same striking distance every note. 1 and 2, and my attack from the same point. So that establishes my quarter note. 3 and 4. 1, 2. And I want to put a push on it. 3, 4. 1 and 2 and free stroke, down, free stroke, down, free. So I get bing, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And it does make a difference. I never forget, I was a hot shot, I'm still a hot shot, don't worry about it. A hot shot kid way back centuries ago. And when I first started with Joe Morello, he asked me to go behind his set in the studio and play. And that was the set he did the Take 5 recording on. And that's the set you see on YouTube all the time. Great sounding set. And he asked me to play straight ahead jazz time. And I would play, not to offend anyone, I'm going to demonstrate what I think was one of the downfalls of one of the Buddy Rich Scholarship Memorials, a rock drummer trying to play jazz, and it sounded like this. That's pretty heavy, man. Bing, sounds like a march. So you want to make it swing. Bing, 2, 3, 4. And I played it like that, and that's what he said to me. It sounds like a march. It's you got to play free stroke, down. You establish the time. Just have a good time with it. Okay, so there's any questions, any problems at this point, we could address them, because it's getting to be my time to stop broadcasting on YouTube. So I want to try to cover as much as I possibly could. Tomorrow, I have another 1 o'clock here, and we're going to establish the triplet fill-ins utilizing the stick control book against the jazz pattern. the way I teach, I'm going to just kind of like give you a little bit of a taste of it so you can prepare for tomorrow. What I do, for example, I interpret the stick control book. Instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, I swing the first line, I swing the lines. The first line would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. No, I'm not saying it's incorrect to play ride cymbal patterns, accents rather. I'm sorry. What I'm saying is, you know, throughout the song, if it sounds like this, it sounds like a rock drummer playing jazz. It's absolutely not incorrect to play accents on the ride cymbal. That's the open time. You play wherever you want to play the accents inside of that open time, inside of the melody. No, don't misunderstand that, Ed. There's nothing wrong with playing accents on the ride cymbal. There's a time and place for everything. I mean, if you're playing something, you know, straight ahead, bing, chong, ding, everybody's counting on that to develop a nice sound. You're not going to play one. You don't want to play. I sound like shit. There's a time and place. If the music calls for it, you play it. It's not incorrect. Definitely not incorrect. What I was saying before that question came up, and that's a good question, Ed. At least, you know, you had me make that distinction, that it's not incorrect. But what we're doing here is a straight ahead time. And we're making the quarter note, 1, 2, 3, 4, the pulse sound the same. That's establishing the pulse, like Jack said. Okay, the triplet fill-ins. I take the stick control book and I say, okay, instead of playing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, I play it swung, 1 and 2. And I said, okay, I'm going to interpret the first line, swung, and I'm going to fill in the remainder of the 8th note triplet. I'm going to eliminate the lefts and just play the rights, which would be 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and. We got that so far? And then when I say triplet fill-ins, I'm gonna try to make the first line a linear line. 1, 2, 3, 4. And with that interpretation, we go down to line 2. This time, the right hand falls on the does if I swing it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and with the triplet fill-ins, the balance, I'm playing the balance of the 8th note triplets, just about as ghost notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Line 3, I swing it. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and I eliminate the lefts, and that gives me 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then I fill in the balance of the triplet again with the left hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and the next move is I substitute the right hand. That's what I want for the bass drum. Line 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Line 3, 1 and, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Now I'm using the stick control book. I'm going to play that, what I just did, the substitution, left foot 2 and 4 against the jazz pattern, straight ahead. Line 1. Line 2. Line 3. Sorry. have 72 lines, and I also do that with the syncopation book. And what we're going to do is we're going to hang there tomorrow afternoon and tonight. So if you want to join me tonight, it's all open to the public so far. And let me put my site in there because I'm going to have to close up. Hold on. Now that's my site for tonight. Is there any questions on anything that we've done so far today? Because I need to close up. I'm sorry. And yeah, Ed, I'm not saying it's incorrect to play with the right cymbal accents. I'm not saying that. I'm teaching one zone, and that's the straight ahead. All 4 quarter notes. Okay, we'll be here tomorrow at 1 p.m. and Thursday as well. I didn't do anything yesterday because of Memorial Day. And hopefully next week we'll be back on schedule again. Okay, gentlemen and ladies, if you'd like, come visit me tonight. It's still open, free to the public. Okay, Ed? Okay, Ross? Ross, make yourself visible once in a while. I know that you're busy playing, you're on the road, and you're making a lot of money. Jack, it was a pleasure having you here. It was so nice to give you some lessons or give you some information. No problem, Mr. Ed. Come back tonight if you can. We're going to be working with the triplet fills out of the syncopation book and out of the stick control book against the jazz pattern. I label the lessons as, this lesson would be Chaffee and Stone. All right? The lesson tonight would be Chaffee, Stone, and Reed. Okay. Any questions? Okay, gentlemen. Hopefully I see you tonight.